Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
The government is going to court to ask for a delay in the publication of its Clean Air Plan. Ministers say that the election means they shouldn't unveil a major new policy at this stage. But campaigners and opposition politicians say the government is looking for an excuse to avoid difficult decisions. Our science editor, David Shookman, is in central London for us this evening. David, why are environmental campaigners so angry about this?
Well, because streets like this are still so polluted. If you think that it was 7 years ago that Britain was told it was in breach of European safety limits on pollution. 2 years ago, the Supreme Court told ministers to get their act together and clean the air up. Last November, the High Court told ministers that their plans simply weren't adequate, didn't cover enough of the country, told them to go back to the drawing board and come up with a new plan by today. Well, today has come and gone with yet another delay.
David, what happens now?
Well, the government says it is determined to clean the air up. It will publish its plans after the election and put them into effect as soon as possible, and that it's spending a great deal of money trying to do things like support electric vehicles, which would be cleaner. But the real question is, what's in their plan? We haven't seen it yet. How will they get the most polluting vehicles off the roads? How will they help local authorities to set up clean air zones? There's a great deal of challenges lying ahead.
David, thank you very much.
The government has defended the decision not to publish plans to reduce toxic levels of air pollution until after the election. The Environment Secretary, Andrea Leadsom, told MPs it was not appropriate to launch the draft measures at this time. Labour accused ministers of shamefully shirking their legal responsibilities and putting the health of millions of people at risk. The plans could include new charges for motorists to drive diesel vehicles into towns and cities where pollution levels are worst, as our science editor Tom Clark now reports.
Pollution from Britain's diesel traffic is some of the worst in Europe, contributing to an estimated 40,000 extra deaths a year. And today was the day the High Court ordered the government to publish a credible plan for cleaning up our air. But it didn't.
So the government has therefore applied to the High Court for a short extension of the deadline to publishing the National Air Quality Plan for nitrogen dioxide, so that the government can comply with pre-election propriety rules.
It is unacceptable to hide behind the election to delay publishing her plans. Cabinet Office rules are clear that purdah is not an excuse to delay acting on vital public health matters.
The government has promised a draft plan by the 30th of June, but it's got a tough job on its hands. Research by this company in Buckinghamshire calls into question how much Europe's new Euro 6 car efficiency standards are going to do to reduce bad air. Their equipment tests exhaust pollution under real-world driving conditions, but they've just started looking at air inside cars. As you drive along, the vents in the car can actually draw traffic pollution in from the cars all around you. What research here has shown, the amount of bad air that builds up in the cabin can vary enormously depending on the type of car you drive. If you want to know how they know that, you need to talk to my passenger, Justin here. Justin's mouth is the intake for an air monitor that measures tiny soot particles from diesel. They've only tested 6 cars so far, but in some, pollution levels can be 10 times higher in your car than standing on the pavement outside it. The best car analysed, an upmarket saloon, had an average of 75 particles per cubic centimetre of air. The worst, you guessed it, a cheaper car, averaged nearly 20,000. What's more, research here shows some of the latest Euro 6 cars perform worse on the road than the best cars under the dirtier Euro 5 standard from 2009. Could it have something to do with the fact new, tougher on-road testing rules come into force in September?
It looks like that there is a concerted effort to get out cars which will struggle to comply on the new regulations just before the new regulations bite. We can't prove this for certain, but you've got a very strong upward trend from about 5 times the limit to now 7 times the limit of the very latest ones we've tested.
The Society of Motor Vehicle Manufacturers said cars are designed to meet new emission standards on 4 to 5 year product cycles, and that new diesels have drastically reduced levels of harmful air pollutants. The High Court is yet to decide whether it will grant the government an extension, but the problem for this or the next government is engine performance rules won't be enough. Expect scrappage schemes or pollution charging on the road ahead.
Tom Clark.
I've been getting away with it all.